Hello, my family. I am sitting here right now highly frustrated. So I do have a recipe that I'm going to be working on. It's going to be a granola, and I'm going to get to that. But before I do, I really felt it to be highly important to sit here before you and explain something, I guess, in full detail. I rarely speak my beliefs on this channel, y'all, and some reasons this is why. However, there are times that I do, because very honestly, if it weren't for my beliefs, if it weren't for who I believe in, this channel would never even existed. I had one of my beloved subscribers who I'm going to miss dearly. They felt the need to leave, and I understand. It's okay. I never hold anybody here. You're welcome to come and go as you want. But they totally misunderstood what our church is doing, and that's where my frustration come in. It almost to the point it was heartbreaking. We do not belong in a cult, y'all. I will tell you, this thing that I had mentioned about Seek Week, what it reflects to is, and if I take offense to this, then I have to stop and think, seriously, do I have a problem? The aspect to Seek Week is we tend to find things that we focus in on. Now, I love God with all my heart, but I'm going to be honest. I have to be honest. I spend too much time on my phone. There is a lot of times I sit here and waste time, and at the end of the day I said I didn't have time. But if I were to really be honest with myself and look back, what was I doing for the time during my day? Now, if you don't have this situation like I do, then I can understand this is no big deal or a problem to you. It does not mean that I am in a cult. Just because I'm a Christian who chooses to know that and recognize I have a problem, and this is highly beneficial to take 1 week to do this. And that is to lay this down. Not just lay it down, but to what distracts me. I can continually sit on here on Facebook, knowing I have things I have to get done, and I'm just scrolling through Facebook, wasting an entire day when I know maybe I have dishes to get done, I have meals to prepare, I have bread to make, I have a garden to attend, I have whatever needs to be done, including an errand. But I spent 95% of my day from the time I got up until half of my day scrolling Facebook, YouTube, wasting time. Maybe I sat and watched TV when I know I should have been doing some of my work, but I chose to do this instead. Maybe I could have spent some time, what is half hour, to read my Bible, to get to know the word of the Lord, because I am a Christian, and there is nothing wrong with setting this down for a time. It does not mean I'm in a cult, y'all. This is choice. I spend too much time on this device, and that device keeps me from doing what I should. So I am choosing to do this. Hang on, y'all. Alright, y'all, I apologize. So, now to reflect, the idea of this was by choice. Our church is not demanding us to do anything. We have the freedom and choice to choose to do this. It's an opportunity. Hold on. Sorry, y'all, that is my cat who's deciding to rub up against the tripod. Anyways, this is purely by choice. This is nothing to do with a cult. This is an opportunity for me to find better ways to use my time, and that is it. To say this was a cult really, really hurt me as a Christian person and not fully understand. So, and I choose not to take into offense of what our preacher has suggested, because if I do, then I know I have a very bad problem. So for those who left, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry you totally misunderstood the situation. I felt the need because I'm the one that brought it up, and then you totally misunderstood the situation. I felt the need to explain in full detail, and I'm very cautious from here on through how I profess my beliefs, which is really just as sad, because as a believer, I should not be afraid to have to speak. But I am. So, can somebody say that in a sense of this that I could take offense into that? But I don't. Thank you for understanding, though. For those of you who understand what I was saying, this is by choice, and it's only for a week. It's not like it's my lifetime. So, and like I said, I choose because I know I have a problem, and what I could be spending learning to live a better lifestyle for myself, because honestly, this is what's helping me to be able to do what I'm doing on this channel, to eat better, because my health is more important than just letting myself go. Hang on. I love you all very, very much. And you mean more to me than just a channel subscriber. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, right now I do have a recipe, and it's going to consist of, I have made Mediterranean granola before, and it was using tahini. Got something in my eye now. It's been using tahini. This time, y'all, I'm actually going to be using sourdough discard. So yeah, I messed up today, but we're going to get through this. So instead of wasting sourdough and throwing it away when every time I feed, I'm actually, and I understand some people don't even do that. I do, some don't. Most people I know do, and they get rid of their discard. I choose to want to try it this way. It's not going to hurt to try using this discard to make granola. Matter of fact, making my own granola either this way or with the tahini. I have not bought junk food since. And I actually am going to be working on a segment of making pure, authentic Mexican food. Actually, that's what we're going to have for supper tonight. All the way down to the organic masa. And the reason I choose to is I went to the grocery store and I looked at corn tortillas already prepared and made. What I don't remember was, in our ancestors of the Native Americans, and I'm pretty sure that corn was ground, there was nixtamalization. The original nixtamalization or lime source used was ash, wood ash. So it broke down the corn, this is how it was ever even found to be able to do this, is our ancestors before us. So they would break down that really hard shell kernel and release Pandora's box of every nutrient and vitamin, and then they dried the corn, turning it into a beautiful masa already made. You add hot water, you add your salt, and you can make the amazing, or at that point, just fresh masa already done, and then they ground it up in the stone grinder. But never once did I ever hear that they added products like folic acid, gargum, xanthan gum. Those are the ones that turn around when you go to get your tortillas that taste like gum. It is a rubbery base to me. So I will be using, from Azure Standard, pure organic yellow masa, making homemade tortillas without all the gums, without all the acids for preserving on our shelf, because I'm going to use them right away. I am going to be making what is called street tacos all the way down to the salsa verde, because again, when I looked at salsa verde, sugars, xanthan gums for thickeners, and all this is added, and y'all, this is not the way it goes. So we're going to be authenticity, 100% fresh ingredients, and I'm going to make that another video to come. So y'all, let's go in the kitchen and let's make some granola. Okay, y'all, I will be putting this recipe in the description box below for each of you. Yeah, I'm still trying to get over the fact that I was called a crime. Wow. Y'all, sometimes things can really hurt deep. I am human and I can hurt like everybody else. But anyways, let's continue. 1/3 cup olive oil. Let me get a spatula. Alright, now my next ingredient, I'm actually going to limit the resource of this one, although it is 100% natural. Thank you, Miss Cece, for this one, because I do have 100%, and I know for a fact that it is, of pure maple syrup. And so I get the opportunity to have authenticity in my home along with honey. So it calls for a 1/2 cup of maple syrup or honey, and I'm actually going to use less than that because I choose not to have that much sweetener if I decide later. So I'm going to use about 1/4 cup, maybe just 2/3. If I find that it's not sweet enough, then I will go ahead and do the full 1/2. So this is totally up to you, y'all. But we are trying to keep this authentic as much as possible and organic as much as possible by using real ingredients. And now I need about 1/2 cup of sourdough starter. I could probably end up using more. So we're going to go ahead, and this is our discard. We are going to be using 3 cups of oats with nuts, so we may find that we may need more than this. We'll have to see how this goes, and I'm probably going to let this sit for a bit because I am going to be using organic old-fashioned rolled oats. Again, that was another product that I purchased from Azure Standard. Now I'm going to mix this all together. Blend this up very well. The sourdough smells amazing, y'all. Now, I just actually fed my sourdough this morning and I let this sit out. So it's really actually kind of primed. That's the reason why it smells so good. Now, we are going to bake this, by the way, and I'm preheating my oven for 300 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and knock what's been poured into my sourdough, or my discard. I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I don't want that sitting on the edges of my jar. Now I may have to, I'm going to leave this out because I may have to bring some more back to it. Now at this point, oh y'all, so my bad. Do not put 1/2 cup. Well, I guess I'm not going to need any more sourdough starter, y'all. That was 1/4 cup. Not 1/2 cup. About 1/4 cup of sourdough starter. Wow, this is going to be very... I'm going to be making a lot of... a lot of granola, y'all, because now I'm going to have to double this recipe. So, let me go ahead and double this, I reckon, since I'm doing that. Okay, let's go ahead and get our oil. Wow, I cannot believe I just see how things can trip you up when you allow it to, y'all. Some things I try to just knock off my back, but some things it's just hard, and there's where the reality of who I am comes in. I bleed like you, I hurt like you, I function like you. Sometimes things just don't feel good, and I'm not just some person on YouTube that's just entertainment. I'm a real individual. Okay, so I am actually going to add just a little bit more, making it the half cup full for this recipe. I will test it here after a while, but I think I'm going to be also adding cranberries, so that'll add sweetener to this as well. Alright, so now this is going to be prepared for a double batch. Guess I'm going to be having a lot of granola. Now, I need 3 cups of rolled oats. Okay, so I am going to be using my organic rolled oats, and I need 3 cups. But remember, you're going to see more because, well, y'all, I'm doubling this. Okay. Told you I'm going to have a lot of granola. Goodness gracious sakes alive. I should have been paying attention, but I'm not going to waste. Alright, so I need about 1 cup of walnuts. Now here is what you can do. Within that 1 cup, you can make a variety of several different type of nuts if you want to, which is exactly what I am going to be doing. I am going to be using some sunflower seeds. I'm going to be using a mixture, basically. I'm going to be using some pumpkin seeds. I loved, this is one from Azure Standard as well. Now I'm going to need 2 cups of nuts, so I'm going to use my difference for all of this. Now I'm going to be adding some walnuts, which I'm going to break into pieces here. Let me go ahead and get these broken, and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so I have now about 2 cups of nuts in here, which, like I said, you can add a little more than the 1 cup in the recipe. The recipe, I'm going to give you the original, not this double form of what I have. So I'm going to end up freezing granola, y'all. I really hope I like this. Just saying, because at this point, I'm going to have to like this. Alright, so I need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. One teaspoon of vanilla. I am using my organic homemade vanilla. Now I probably should have added that with the liquids. There we go. I'm using the 1/2 teaspoon, y'all, so that's why it looks like I'm doing a whole lot more. Okay. And now we're going to mix this up, because in the end of this, we're going to use about 1 3/4 to 1 cup of raisins, cranberries, whatever you choose to do. So, but that's going to be added after the cooking process. So right now we're going to mix this all together. And here's where it's going to get fun, because we're going to mix this up really good into that sourdough mix at the bottom. And then I'm going to let this absorb into that sourdough mix. Oh, it smells divine though. Honestly, this smells amazing. Oh yeah, this looks so good. Alright, my oven is preset to 300 degrees, and I'm going to get a parchment lined pan to put this on there. I have an extra large baking sheet, so I should be able to put all of this into that pan, because we want to make a complete 1 layer, thin layer, because this is going to take anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes to bake, because we're going to completely dry this out. So at this point, y'all, I'm going to be back, get my parchment paper lined pan ready, and let this sit for a few minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so time has been done, and I'm going to now spread this. I may have to do 2 pans, so I'm going to be very cautious of how much of this I'm going to put on here. I do not want to make this thick where this will not dry out either. So I'm going to spread this. Yeah, I may have to do this because this is actually a double batch of granola. Yeah. I'm going to be safe than sorry, y'all. So I'm going to do 1 batch at a time. And it's not going to hurt to leave this sit on my counter. It just means it absorbs a little bit more into the flavoring. And I guess in a sense of it, it'll ferment a little bit more with the oats. I'm just going to go ahead and scoop some more onto my pan while I spread it. I don't know. This pan may be big enough. We don't know yet. I may just have to get 1 more small pan, which is perfectly fine with me. I'd rather do things right than not at all, actually. I don't want to just rush into something because I messed up. So I'm just going to do it right, because this is, number 1, we know that products are just not cheap. And number 2, why waste a good thing? So, and I can be enjoying it. So we will stop right here, it looks like. You're going to be stirring this and turning this pan between that 35 minutes to 45 minutes as well. We're looking for a nice golden color, crisp and dry. This way we can store it on our container in a sealed jar or whatever that's airtight container. Yeah, I'm just a little pieces here and there to fill in these gaps is where I'm at. So I won't need as much of a pan, because most of this second batch is actually going to fit on here. So I just need a small pan, which is cool. It actually looks and smells amazing. Alright, y'all. I'm going to get my timer out and set it. I'm going to set it for 35 minutes just in case. But at 300, it's a slow bake, so. And with the sourdough mixed with that maple syrup, it'll candy on here. Oh, that's gonna be so good. Oh, all right, y'all, so I'm going to get my timer out. I'm gonna set it for 35 minutes. I have to find my other one. This one is a bit quieter. Alright, we're going to set that for 35 minutes. We're going to pop this bad boy in the oven. We're going to take and turn it. We're going to take a spatula and turn it that way. We're going to turn the pan to evenly bake this. And once this is finished, we will be back and show you what it's like, and we're going to give it a taste test. For those who don't see the community part of this channel, I thought I would go ahead and share with you for the first time. Now, you can't see that now, but for the first time, having pita bread. Now, this is sourdough, and I have used half Central Millings artesian bread flour from Azure Standard and half fresh milled spelt flour, like evenly split half and half. Now, even with sourdough, I really had a hard time with that rise to puff up to make that perfect sandwich base pita. I also make this now because I found that homemade pita tastes amazing when turned into chips for my hummus, so I no longer buy that. So I got to show you, did I succeed to making that perfect pita for the sandwich like a gyro? You tell me. I was never so excited to find out I finally have the perfect pita, y'all. And look, look at this. It's soft, it's pliable, and it's sourdough. It smells so amazing. Now, this was cold fermented overnight as well, so I am super stoked, and I had to share with y'all. So look for a recipe coming up for these as well, because that's going to happen. Okay, y'all, so my granola is finished. It didn't take, for me, it took about 25 minutes, and so this turned, as you can hear it, this is nice and dry. Now, at this point, I am going to be adding my cranberries to this. Now, mine are also organic, using apple juice instead of sugar. So I'm going to blend some of this instead of raisins. And this is going to give that extra sweetness that I did not add into. This still needs to cool off some. So, and we'll be trying that after that happens. Go ahead and add just a little bit more, because I added, remember, it's about 1 cup of raisins or cranberries, whatever you choose. I think I am actually going to order some more of these cranberries because they are absolutely amazing. So, and I love that organic factor. I don't have to have any type of sugars in this. So, all natural apple juice is good enough. Alright, y'all. So now we're going to let this cool off, and then we're going to try this because it sure smells amazing. Let me give you a close-up of this pan, y'all. Look at how beautiful this is. It is gorgeous. Beautifully golden. The colors don't even come out amazing on video as it is in person. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to get a mixture of everything as much as I can and see how this granola goes. I actually love granola on Greek yogurt, and so I think it's sometimes I just, instead of a chip, to be honest, these are really good to snack on. So does it have what I'm looking for? Let's try it. Oh my Lord. Oh my. Alright, y'all. If you have a sourdough starter looking to figure out what to do with your discard, I highly encourage you to do this recipe. Now, I love, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it, and you will find on this channel where I gave the recipe to using granola the Mediterranean way with tahini. I love that recipe, but this here, Lord have mercy, this is just as good, if not just slightly better, in my opinion. I could definitely see we are not, or me actually, because my husband can't really eat this, but I can. So I can definitely see me never buying it. Seriously, I have read the ingredients and I prefer my own. Everything in here, most of it was organic, it was homemade. I know exactly what's in this, and it's as pure can get. This is going to make a great snack when we are at discipleship classes, so I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to put this in a container and probably let it cool off just slightly more. I'm gonna put this in another bowl at least till it cools off before I put it in a container. And then a good portion of this is going in the freezer because I'm not going to eat this. I'm going to actually savor it, so I can actually hold this in the freezer and bring it out when I get low. I have my second pan in the oven now working with it, so we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so you will find the recipe to this in the description box below. For those of you who do not have sourdough starter, I will go purposely finding the recipe to the tahini Mediterranean granola for you as well. So, and I'll link that in there for you. Just click a button and you go straight to that video. So, y'all, the only reason I brought up the fact of what I did at the beginning of this video is I do not want you to think that at any point that I want to live a fake life. Y'all, I believe seriously in being a doer and not just by namesake. For example, if I were to turn around and like I have this channel stating that this is a Mediterranean homestead and that I live the Mediterranean way, which technically in some forms is back in the old biblical days where we ate healthier and lived longer. So if I were to turn around and literally think about this for a moment, if I were to actually turn around and do a video just like I did now of this granola, turn around and finish this, give you the recipe, toss it out when I'm done with this video, said, that was a good one, now let's go to McDonald's and I'm going to get a Big Mac fries, I'm going to grab some Debbie cakes, and I'm going to sit there and engorge on it. I'm a fake. At this point, I'm a hypocrite and I have no right to even own this channel. I believe in being an example. Never once would I have ever thought that I would be accused of a crime and a cult. That really hurt deep. But no weapons formed against me shall prosper. Y'all, I felt obligated to express to you what actually Seek Week meant. It is not a mandatory thing. It is by choice, and it's a choice that I chose to do to become a better person and to know that I would rather live a life not just by namesake, but by being a doer. In doing so, I love more than I accuse. And I can express being a real person and not being a fake. Y'all, I love you all so much, and I never once wanted you to think that I would do something that awful. So I hope you forgive me on that comment that was done, and then the fact that I really had to address that. I don't bring this topic up much on this channel, but this is one area I felt that I needed to. It's a great loss to lose this person because I really, really liked them. So, and I'm holding back tears again because it really hurts. But anyways, it is what it is. So I hope I don't lose any more of you over something like that. But I love y'all, and until next time, I know that God is in control, and it is what it is, and I'll grow when I grow. Until then, I'm going to be just who I am. I love you. You got to try this recipe if you have sourdough starter. And if you don't have starter, let me know. We've got ways that we can help you get one because it is so worth it. I am learning to use sourdough starter a lot more because I'm loving the fact of breads. Sourdough, to understand why is it so important. The fermentation of a bread with sourdough opens up a Pandora's box you would never believe. I didn't know this, but it will help digestive systems enough, and the fermentation allows nutrients and vitamins to be absorbed into your body instead of just pass through. That is what we need the most. This is the reason why I'm using more and more of my sourdough. So I can absorb, even when I'm fresh milling, I can get everything and not just part of it passing through. So if you need help, let's make a sourdough starter. Let me know. Put it in the comments below if you want to learn how to make one, or is there a possibility I may be able to help you get the first start. I'm willing to do so. So, until next time, y'all, much, much love from Parton's Mediterranean Homestead.